Hoş geldiniz. Edward Creek. Hoş geldiniz. We have a special guest, Gursky, Maestro Gursky. I'm going to connect him now. Good morning, Maestro.
Good morning, good evening.
Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. We are listening Edward Greek a little bit.
Yes, very good.
The whole of the mountains. I would like to show you, before we start, beautiful Istanbul, because we want you to bring you to someday. This is the Bosphorus. Do you see this? Hello?
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Thank you so much for accepting. Maybe we can do some concert or maybe some master classes for the future. We would love to have you here. And,
I would love to come.
As a guest, as our friend, because you are a good friend, not only a good musician, you are a wonderful friend. Whenever I ask, you accept it. We met with you in Operalia competition, Maestro Domingo competition.
Yeah,
and
2003.
Then, yes, you have a wonderful memory always. But you are not only in the Operalia, you were in Los Angeles Opera, you did the Leno City Figaro there, in Don Giovanni, you did in Washington Opera, yes. And also you are Kapellmeister of Regensburg Opera and Bremen Opera, and you are also working in Metropolitan Opera right now.
Yes.
You are working with young singers a lot of time.
Yes.
You have experience with young singers.
Right.
Did I jump a lot? Or would you like to add something? You work all over the world.
Correct. I think we will be able to cover a lot of it in the next hour.
Yes. I have a lot of questions. First of all, I'm going to tell my friends, whomever watching for us, they can write Turkish questions and I will be able to translate. Let me tell them in Turkish. Lütfen Türkçe soru sorabilirsiniz. Soru işareti yeri yazın. Ben Maestro'ya çeviri yapacağım. Çok teşekkürler geldiğiniz için. Maestro, your connection. Hello? Maestro? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Maestro?
Yes, I lost you for a second, but I'm back.
Yes, you are here. You are here.
Yes.
You are in New York right now, no?
Correct.
Yes, but everything is calm right now. No, it's better, no? We are not talking about the virus right now, but we are not going to talk about that virus. We're going to talk about the music. Beautiful music, what we are doing.
The music is saving us in this time of the virus.
Exactly.
We're not going to talk about the virus, but we are very lucky that we have music in our lives.
Yes, we have an art. We have a beautiful art.
Right.
Maestro, I'm going to jump a little bit, like saying, when you are preparing a role as a conductor, how do you start?
Yes.
Do you read the libretto or do you read the full score? Full score, I'm so sorry. Do you read the full score or what do you do? How do you start?
To prepare a new opera is a big project.
Yes.
It's getting easier after the years. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more you do operas by a specific composer, the easier it gets. After you've done the first 10 operas of Verdi, you know how it works, you know how the composer functions, you know what to look for in the music. The same goes with every other composer. You need a lot of time to prepare.
How did you feel when you were doing your first Don Giovanni? or Le Nozze di Figaro?
Look, Don Giovanni was my professional debut in 2007.
I know. Why I'm asking you?
I took a lot of time and I looked at everything possible, which was nice because I think I put so much time studying it that by the time I went to the P to conduct my debut, I knew the score so well. I remember the score was in front of me and I never had to look at it. I just never opened it and never turned the page because everything was here in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's of course the nicest thing. Look, we always conduct with the score in front of us, but who was it? I think Scholte is the one who said it's better for a conductor to have the score in the head, not the head in the score. So whatever
Can you repeat it?
do,
Can you repeat that? What he said, Scholte?
yes, it's a very good sentence. He said the conductor should have the score in the head, not the head
in the score,
down in the score, which is very true.
Yes.
So as much as possible, I try to put as much information as possible here. I turn the pages, but I try not to look too much. I try to look up on the stage where the singers are. I try to look at the musicians. If the orchestra and the singers, they can see my eyes, that makes a very big difference. If I can see their eyes, it makes a very big difference, actually.
But do you like to work with the suggeritore? Come si dice? Suggeritore.
Prompter.
Yes. You like to work with the prompter?
Yes, I like to work with the prompter. To be honest, in my life, I've prompted myself because to be a prompter.
Why I'm asking you that question? Yes. Sorry, sorry.
Yes.
Because because it's a very hard job. It's so difficult to control for all singers in same time in one position in 360 degree. No. Almost
180.
No, 180.
Yes.
I'm sorry, 180. Yes. But you have to control all of them, and they have to be always with you in the rhythm, music, and cue. No.
Yes. Now that I've done both, because I conduct and I also prompt, and I can tell you, the work of a prompter, of a maestro suggeritore, is ideally you have to be like a conductor. You help the conductor. You are not really in charge. You have to give cues. You have to help the people who are singing. You don't conduct the orchestra, for example, but you have to think like a conductor. And when you think like a conductor, the job becomes much easier.
Yes. Like you are like a bridge between conductor and singers, no?
Absolutely.
I would have said you are a bridge. Without bridge, that would be very difficult. And the most opera companies in the Metropolitan Opera, but in Washington, they have prompter? I don't think we had it.
Sometimes. I was in the prompter box in Washington twice. There were two projects. There was one time Lucrezia Borgia that René Fleming was singing.
Ruggero Raimondi. I saw that.
Oh, you saw that? Okay.
Yes, I was there.
Fantastic. And it was Vittorio Grigolo, the tenor, and Kate Aldrich. Yes. Very, very good cast. So I was in the prompter's box.
Wow.
Because the singers needed some help because René Fleming, she had a long gap since she did Lucrezia Borgia in La Scala. I think it was in 98. And that was 10 years later. Yes?
I did that production in La Scala, same production. She did it.
Okay.
Where she get booed in La Scala.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But she was fantastic.
Thing.
She was fantastic in Washington. She was wonderful.
Yes.
She
is a fantastic singer.
Beautiful. Yes. Which composer for you to analyze analyze the difficulty? Like which composer for you it was difficult when you were when you opened the score, you said, "Oh my, what are we gonna do?" Or you said, "Let me work more, and I will have it."
That is always the answer. Let me work more and I will have it is always the answer.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Because especially when you do something for the first time, it's difficult. What I said before, after you do more and more pieces by the same composer, you understand better how it works. When you start the works of a composer, it takes some getting used to, because obviously Mozart functions different than Rossini. Rossini is different than Verdi. Verdi is different than Puccini, and so on. Each composer is very unique. Wagner, Strauss. Strauss at the beginning was very difficult. I had to.
Which was the opera? Electra? Or
I
Salome?
remember Electra, which I first time did as a pianist.
Wow.
That was very, very difficult. And now I was looking again at Electra because I was preparing it for Bremen. It's like,
wonderful.
Okay, it's still hard, but so much easier because you understand how it works. So experience makes things easier. You have to take the time, of course, to invest in it. When we talk about Electra right now, what makes for me a big difference is that now I speak German.
Yes.
That makes all the difference. I look at the text and I don't have to go to the dictionary, or I don't have to go to the books of Nico Castel, which I admire and I use very much.
Me too. Me too. I love him.
Yes.
I love him. I adore him, you know.
I adore him.
He gave me all PDF files. Do you believe that?
I believe
when
that.
He was in live. And he always says, mio turco, mio bello, mio turco, because he loved Turkish food. And he loved Turkish food. He talks about Turkish food all the time. And sorry about that. Sorry.
No. I as a student, I used to play for his classes. I did it for 3 years.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah. At Manhattan School of Music.
You know, I prepared my Leporello in the Met with him.
Wow.
Yes.
We miss him.
Pare sentire odor di pepino. Cospetto che dorato perfetto.
All'aria mi par bello.
E che occhio dico.
Ritroviamoci un poco e scopriamo terreno.
Già prese poco.
Okay. And then comes Donna Elvira.
Yes. Okay, Maestro. What do you pay attention for the opera singers when you were conducting? Like, is there any tenor didn't follow you, or is there any baritone didn't follow you? I'm sure the bassist is most respectful singers for you. I don't know. What was the difficulty for you to work with the opera singers?
Look, you ask me, I work with singers also as a coach.
Yes.
And I work with them as a conductor. And there are differences. Yes. Because when I work as a coach, I'm looking for the good sound. I'm looking for the expression. I'm looking for good text, expression, and so on. Especially the sound. The sound is very, very important for me. But when I conduct, I'll tell you the thing that is most difficult for me with singers who are not prepared.
Okay,
I can't begin to tell you. And by not prepared, you can realize on the first rehearsal that they're not prepared. And as a young singer, and because we're speaking today with young singers, that is the most important thing.
Yes.
Be prepared. It doesn't matter if you have beautiful voice, great technique, you can sing your auditions perfectly. If you go to a rehearsal and you're not prepared,
first musical rehearsal,
musical rehearsal, and you're not prepared, you are doing yourself very big disservice. You know what the word disservice? You're really shooting yourself in the foot. You're putting yourself in big trouble.
Yes,
I have to say. And that happens. And, you know, I realize when I conduct and I give the cue for a singer and they miss it, or they come one measure too early, or they start singing in the wrong tempo, or they start singing the wrong notes, or they mess up the words. You know, a little bit is okay. We as conductors, we can understand.
You can
We can
ignore.
understand.
You can ignore a little bit. Yeah.
We can
But not all
ignore,
the
we can understand, well, maybe they're less experienced, they're a little bit nervous, they haven't done it enough, next time it will be better. But if I realize they really just didn't learn it, they learned it in 2 hours, they think they know it, but they actually don't know it, that is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, having to replace singers, that's difficult.
Yeah.
And for us, the conductors, the people who run opera companies, who do the casting, if you're not prepared, that is really the biggest problem. And I'm sorry to say, I've seen that enough times.
A lot.
A lot.
Yes. What do you prefer? There is a question somebody asked, from your point, what could be a major difference between conducting an opera or symphony orchestra?
It's a very big difference. The thing is, symphony orchestra, you just have, it's much simpler, much more simple to just conduct symphony, much more. And everyone will tell you that. You just have the orchestra, you rehearse it. The orchestra, they are used to playing together as a group. They are used to each other.
They knew each other. They knew the sound also, no? What they make.
Right.
Yes.
The orchestra in a symphony, they sit on the stage where the acoustics is simple. The stage is meant for orchestra to play symphonies together. It is so much easier. Acoustically, as a group, they just have to follow you. There is not the stage involved. Once you involve the stage, it begins to be much more complicated because you have the distance between the pit and the stage.
Yes.
You have the balance issue. You have the staging. That means sometimes you have to wait for the singers. Sometimes you have to push the singers. The orchestra has to be far more flexible. The orchestra has to watch their balance much more carefully. You have to help with the balance a lot.
I have a question. Have you ever have an experience like in the hall, because in the rehearsal hall, you work with singers very closely.
Yes.
And they sounded rich and good.
Yes.
But when they go to stage, they become mute.
Yes.
Have you ever had that experience?
Yes, quite a lot, actually.
What happened?
Yes, and the thing is, after a while, I learned how to realize it even before we go on the stage. There is a certain way of singing that now, with some experience, I can tell this sounds good right now with the piano in a small room, but it is not going to travel in stage. Because a lot of times, and you realize that also, you know that, Burak, because when the singers are like, you know, they give a lot of sound, a lot of pressure.
Yes, and
they
there is
up
nothing
the breath.
on stage.
But what you need is for the air to travel. You need this point. You need the air to go this way, to have the resonance in the chest, to have the resonance in the head. Then you realize the sound is going to work. But
the other way will be singers mute. Also, there will be no good acoustic. There will be no amplifiers like electronic system. You wouldn't hear them. Even you put the orchestra down, and you would have not enjoyed the singer. No.
Oh yes, yes. Oh yes.
I have a question. When you are rehearsing in the hall for staging,
yes,
I'm sure you give musical notes after the musical rehearsal, or during the staging.
Yes.
But have you ever involved for staging? Have you ever give them a notes for staging to be a better?
I do. It's risky because stage directors don't like when the conductor gets involved. You know how it is.
Yes.
But the thing is, it connects. You cannot separate the staging from the music, and the character that you have on stage is connected to the expression of the music.
Yes.
So I do tell singers to pay attention to certain things. I was working on a Verdi opera last year with a very fine baritone, and we realized 2-3 days before the opening, I was realizing that he was singing all the notes, but it wasn't expressive. So I had to take him and say very specifically what I think this phrase should mean. What is the emotion that should be going through his head right now? Why is he singing this aria and so on? And give him specifics. Normally that should more be the work of the stage director. But, you know, sometimes, and it was a good stage director. He gave very nice instructions, very nice ideas, but not about the character. He gave ideas about movement. He put nice scenes on the stage, which is already good. Let me tell you, it's not always the case.
But sometimes a lot of conductors, they don't like to be park and bark. No. Difficult question. Sorry to
Difficult.
say.
Look, ideally, no. Ideally, you want someone who can also be expressive, who can also connect and make music very specifically with you. What do you mean by park and bark? Look, sometimes park and bark is not so awful when you compare to the alternative. Because sometimes you have
A lot of movements, but did no sound. You are saying sometimes.
Yes. Or you have a director that wants the singer to run around and do crazy things, when what the singers really need is to stand and support and be able to sing a very difficult phrase. Sometimes if you have a lot of coloratura, for the sopranos especially, and the director wants you to do spins and walk and run, you cannot do it. You should be standing on both feet and not run around, and save your breath for the long phrase and save your support for coloratura. So in that sense, okay, it's okay to park and bark. Do it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Maestro, we have a compliment. Thank you for sharing your story and experience with us. And she's a teacher in Izmir, Simirna, and she's asking another question. She's a voice teacher, is a good friend. Do you work in Israel as well? How can you compare the level of musicianship in the United States or in Europe? Like how do you compare between Europe and United States for musicianships?
Okay. I'll start by saying I am from Israel, but I've actually never worked in Israel. I started my studies there, and my family is still there, and I visit them and I love them, but I've never actually worked for the Israeli opera. I hope one day I will be able to.
Hope so.
But of course, I worked with quite a few Israeli singers. And the other part of the question is very interesting because I worked a lot in the United States and a lot in Europe, and there are differences. And I'm generalizing, so it's not completely fair, but I will give the answer. The thing about American singers is they're very, very well trained. Typically, you have singers who are technically very, very advanced. The teaching of singing technique in America is overall very good. Very good.
Yes.
I mean, of course, there are exceptions to everything.
Of course. Everywhere.
But,
everywhere.
Yes. And generally, the training in America, when you go to one of the big conservatories, Juilliard, Curtis, Manhattan School, Indiana, and so on. Many, many,
Which
many fine schools.
You teach in Manhattan's musical school, no?
Yes, I used
Yes.
to. I used to work
Used
at
to.
Manhattan
You used
School
to.
for quite a
I
few
see.
years,
Yes.
and I still have connections with them. And then you have the young artist programs everywhere, starting with the Met
Yes.
Young Artist Program, where I have been working this past
Yes.
year.
Yes, you
And
are.
you have
Yes.
Houston and Chicago and Maryland and all the wonderful summer programs.
Washington, Los Angeles,
Washington, Los
everywhere.
Angeles, all of
Yes.
them upper houses where I used to work. And the training for young singers is fantastic and well-rounded. In other words, they have the technique, they have the languages, they have the stage skill, they have the musical skills. So overall, you have people who can do everything on a very good level. What is often missing in America, and you get it much more in Europe, is singers who are very expressive. Because
European singers.
European singers, because somehow in Europe there is more emphasis on the expression,
I see.
on singing a certain musical phrase in an expressive way, observing the dynamic, trying to make something unique, not bland. Because if there is a complaint now about American singers, and I'm generalizing, really generalizing,
Yeah, of course.
is that sometimes it's very, very, very competent, but a little bit square, a little bit bland. Does it make sense?
Framed. They are more framed. They don't go outside. Like, I can say like that. They do not like to take a risk, maybe.
Yes, yes. And of course there are exceptions, because we have
Of course.
many American singers who go all the way for the expression, who do take
Yes,
risks.
of course.
And I'm saying this because I have been sitting a lot in auditions, in competitions, and overall,
we are going to come back. We're going to go to the
Yes.
competitions. We're going to go to
in
the
a second.
competitions.
But I
Yes.
think it's a very interesting question, because I also, when I coach singers, I think with the Europeans, especially those who train in Germany, they tend to think about the expression first, why they're doing it. And
That is not good. I don't know about that. It's expressions first. That might be difficult, no? It is
difficult. It is difficult because actually, first of all, you should be able to sing something very well. You should
exactly. You can make the sound first, and then expression should come. No? What do you think?
Absolutely. And that, when I've been working in Germany, that is my biggest thing, with so many singers who are trained in Germany, that I have to tell them, okay, forget the piano. Don't try to make it piano. Don't try to make it a very special phrase. Sing it well. Support. Connect. Open your mouth. Open the space. Be able to sing it comfortably on the body with the support. Then, once you're comfortable, you can do anything with it.
Exactly. You can do expression, you can do piano, you can do forte, you can do everything. But you need to make it sound first.
Yes.
Let it go.
Right. As a conductor, it's better for us to have singers who are flexible. You need to be flexible.
It's important.
Come with your ideas, but be able to adjust, to change. That's very important for singers.
Kind of like a pitch your brain with your vocal cords. I always say that. When you are working with the conductors, you need to be, because sometimes conductor want it a very different way where you study or where you sang before. Sometimes they ask you to sing another way, but you need to be well controlled the role or well prepared the role, and you can be able to be flexible for anything what they ask.
Yes. That is a quality that is very important for singers.
And that will make the singers much more unique and much more interesting.
Yes,
No?
yes. That comes with experience. The more as a singer, the more you do it, the more productions you do, the more conductors and directors and colleagues you have. You learn how to be flexible. You learn that each theater is a little different, each orchestra is a little different.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Why
Please.
young singers, they do not have a patient? Why? What do you think? Why they wanted to have...
Young people don't have patience. Are you kidding? Yeah.
You think is it because of their life, or because of because they think they are ready for everything and they can do whatever takes it, and if they want to sing, they do not start with Rossini or Mozart, or they jump around with sometimes with Wagner, even they jump with Verdi and then come to with Puccini, and then they said, oh, let me try Mozart. Why they do this? Do you have any idea?
They shouldn't. That's the they really shouldn't. The thing is, look, there are a few people here and there that already in their 20s have the voice and the technique that they can sing the big dramatic parts. It happens. Normally it doesn't happen. So I think you asked me why. I think it's it's the age. When I know for myself, when I was younger, I was impatient. I wanted to do everything already. And when you're older, you realize how much you actually don't know and you still have to learn. And you realize your own limitations.
When do you stop to learn? When do you stop to learn?
You never stop to learn. You never stop to learn.
I asked this question to Maestro Pavarotti, actually.
Yes.
I asked him, Maestro, when do you stop learning? And then he said, when I die, he said.
That's a good answer. It's the only correct answer.
Yes. Your experience with Maestro Domingo.
Wonderful experience, yes.
Yes, me too. I have a wonderful experience with him too. I watched him in London. He did first Otello, Trio, and then Duetto. And then he came back for Simon Boccanegra. And then, Simon Boccanegra. No. He did second Rigoletto, the last act, Quartetto. And then he came back with the Simon Boccanegra, which is on the end of the Simon Boccanegra, the father dies, he gets poisoned, and which is so touched. And he was wonderful. And people whomever say, why he's singing baritone, I said, I don't care. He's a wonderful. I don't care. He sounds like a Placido Domingo. He's a unique person.
It sounds like Placido, exactly.
Yes. How do you like to work with him? Or what is the difference to work this kind of big star? I'm so sorry to ask this question, but because you are very close to Maestro.
Yes.
And
the thing is, you mentioned Otello, and for me, when I first came to America to study in New York, it was 1995.
Wow.
And the first opera I heard at the Met, I was very young, was Otello in 95.
He was singing Otello.
He was singing Otello. René Fleming was Desdemona. James Morris was Iago. It was nice cast. James Levine, the great James Levine, was conducting.
Yes.
These were the days, right? So that was my very first experience at the Met. And you can imagine from there, it was hard to match. And I've worked a lot with Maestro Domingo over the years. Sorry,
that's okay, Maestro, that's okay.
Okay, I'm doing some adjustments here.
Yes.
I started working for Washington Opera in 2001. And I met him because he was intendant, he was general director.
Yes.
And in 2002, I was playing recitatives for Idomeneo, where he was singing Idomeneo. Anne Trebko was Ilya, was very good cast. And then 2003, I did my first Operalia with him, and more we became close. And after a while, I was beginning to coach him for the roles he was learning. I conducted many concerts with him starting in 2009, I think, but
Yes.
quite a few. So really, we've spent many hours together, and we've traveled together to many places.
He's one of the nicest, humble person. You don't think when you met with him, you talked to him. He's a humble person. He always called me Turco, il mio turco. Dove sei? Dove sei?
Yes.
He has amazing memory. He knows. He remembers everybody.
Yes.
With names. It's amazing.
He remembers everyone. You know, when he goes to the cafeteria of the opera house, he knows everyone by name. He knows if they have a child who's sick. He remembers everything. It's amazing.
Yes.
Look, to me, I've always saw him as a very kind person, very generous, very good colleague. And the thing about Maestro Domingo, he's very passionate about his work, which is why he works non-stop. He never stops. He's always preparing some new production, a new role, something to conduct. He's always helping young singers. He's working around the clock because for him it's not work, it's passion. It's really passion. And there are very few people in the world like him.
Have that one. Yes. We have another question with Lynette. Lynette asking, which conservatory do you think is good for studying opera? Like, I think it's in the United States or in Europe. Which conservatory will be best to give them an idea for opera?
It's a difficult question, but I will try to answer it as much as I can. There are a few factors that are important that you have to consider. In no particular order. You have to have a very good teacher and some very good coaches. And that is tricky, because not every teacher is right for you. You have to really find someone who will work for you, who understands the voice and knows how to get you to where you need to be. And that's tricky, really tricky.
She's saying in Europe, actually. She's asking in Europe, like not in America.
Okay. It's tricky answer. Look, there are a few very good teachers. If you look at the big young artist programs and see who is teaching for them.
Like you are saying, singers don't go to the school, they go to the teacher, no?
Really, that in the end is the most important thing.
Yes.
You know, in America, a big problem is many of the schools are very expensive. I mean, Manhattan School of Music and other similar schools, if you don't have a scholarship, you pay tens of thousands of dollars every year to go to school. And you graduate and you owe so much money. You have debt.
Yes.
You have to pay over years the tuition back. And I don't recommend that for people, because you know the career
AVA is free. Academy of Vocal Arts is free.
AVA is free. Curtis is free. Yale School of Music is free. I think if you can get into a school where it's free, that's a big advantage.
Yes.
Yes.
That means you are a good singer, can be able to train on those programs.
Yes, absolutely.
But in Europe, do you recommend some in Berlin, in Germany, or some young arts program in Zurich, maybe? Or I don't know.
Zurich is a fantastic... Look, we all know what are the top young artist programs.
Yes.
Zurich, Munich. the Staatsoper Berlin,
Berlin, yeah.
Frankfurt has a
Yeah.
good. If you're not in there are others. I mean, there is Stuttgart. There is so many others. Vienna State Opera is
yeah.
sorry.
Köln also have too. Karlsruhe has. Düsseldorf has.
Yes, even smaller. I think I met in Neue Stimmen someone who I think is in Mönchengladbach in Young Artist program. Not big theater, but she was very good, that singer.
Okay, when you are judging in the competitions,
Yes,
for the repertoire,
yes.
how do you eliminate singers, or how do you make it a decision to be a better? It's difficult questions because it's a trick. In the trick is to be a jury. It's very difficult because you have to agree with each other and make conversation together.
Yes, but not always, because look, in Operalia, I've been for many years doing the pre-screening. We get all the videos of applications and we judge them. And we are 3 judges and we judge it separately. And we each give the points. And in the end, we meet on Skype. We don't, because we are all in different countries. And we start to compare the scores. And I'll tell you something, it's usually not so complicated, because typically the first 20, 25 top people, we are in complete agreement. We don't even have to say anything because they all have fantastic
voices,
voices and
voice and technique, expression, and everything.
Right, and
package.
They all, yes, they have the package, and we all give them fantastic scores, so we don't have to say much. And then there's usually discussions about the other singers, but typically we do it by scores. And I have to tell you, after many years in Operalia, if people are curious, they do it by points. There are usually 10 or 12 judges, and they all give points. And in the end, they go upstairs, and what they do is they add the points, and the people with the most points, they go to the next round. It's very simple.
My question is, when you have a singer, they have different arias.
Yes.
Like I would have say, I'm singing La Calunia, Banco, Madamina, La Jolie Fille de Perte, and I have Sarastro.
Yes.
And I start with La Jolie Fille de Perte.
Yes.
Which aria do you pick, like in second aria? Because the jury has to pick the second aria. It's a difficult question, sorry.
It's
because the trick is, I say always, the jury wants to have the singer to be on the next round, but he has to eliminate too. They have to make the decision to be pick the good one, the best one, not to be only to be a singer to be supportive for the second round. Also, they pick the singers. What is the weakest aria or difficult aria to be not to be on the stage on the presentable? What do you think about that? Sorry to say this.
No, it's a very good question. There are several considerations. Typically, if someone is good, if someone did the first aria very well, I would pick a second aria that is a little bit different, that shows something that the first aria didn't show. So, for instance, if you start with, I don't know, Viraviso, you're a bass. And you have an aria like I'll Rise the Subterranean Winds. You remember that? It shows coloratura. I'm like, let's see this guy singing coloratura or something from Handel. I don't know.
Handel,
for example. If you sing Come dal ciel precipita, Banco, I would be, okay, this is very heavy, not so heavy, but you know, it's pesante, it's long line. And then I would like, okay, let's hear Madamina, il catalogo è questo, or La Calunnia, something like that shows a lighter character. Now, this is if the singer is good. You know, sometimes in competitions, we have, here's another thing about competition. You know if a singer is good or not good, if you like them or not like them, after 2 phrases.
You like in even less than 1 minute, no?
Less than 1 minute, absolutely. And the rest of the time, if they have a 5-minute aria, the rest of the time you're like, yes, they're good. Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
boring.
no.
Yeah,
You know,
boring to say. Yeah.
boring is one thing. That's another thing.
Yes.
The most important thing for me personally, I don't speak for other people, is the voice and the technique. I want to hear people that can sing, that the voice function, that the intonation is good, that the position of the voice is the same in all the registers.
Yes.
The voice is easy. I don't see tension. I don't hear tension. I don't hear intonation problems. They match the vowels. They know how to use the air. If I hear that, I'm already a very happy man, I'll tell you.
Wow.
If on top of that, they can be very musical and really connect to the text and move me, I am so grateful. Really, really so grateful. But so often after 2 phrases, you're like, yes, when they go up to passaggio, it's very tight, or, you know, they're very sharp, or they're very flat, or stuff like that.
That means you cut afterwards. Okay, I have question. Can the musicality improved? Like
Yes.
can be
Yes,
how they can
absolutely.
improve? We have questions here too, but how they can improve for the musicality? Well, what do you recommend for them to work their musicality?
Musicality is connected to expression, and good coaches can help a lot, let me tell you. A good coach can show you how it's done. I think for young singers, it's very important to listen to a lot of great singers, not just current great singers, the great singers of the past. A lot. Listen, listen, listen. Watch videos, watch YouTube, listen to all the recordings you can find. Don't try to imitate them, but understand how the style works. It can absolutely be taught.
Can be improved. That we have questions here.
Yes.
Thank you for this conversation. There are many words about singing. What do you think about the cover? Thank you. He said.
About
cover the voice.
Color of the voice is something.
No, not the color, Maestro. Cover. To be coperto.
Covering.
To coperto.
Coperto. Of course you have to cover.
Sì.
Of course you have to cover.
What do you think about the cover? He's saying. How do you explain to cover? He's asking. It's a long conversation. It can take
It's a long
1 hour.
conversation.
Sorry.
You know.
Sorry.
I think there's if you look on YouTube, there is a video, very short video with Pavarotti in a masterclass in Juilliard, and they ask him about cover. And he's saying it's about the comfortable position of the voice once you go to a certain register, where you don't sing open. It's like, yeah, and that's uncovered. And you hear the tightness in this.
Wonderful.
Correct. In other words, you just have to keep an open throat. What I tell singers, look for the comfort. Look for the comfortable position. Singing should not feel like a punishment, should not feel like you're torturing yourself. You have to look for how the larynx can be in a comfortable, relaxed position, how the tongue can be in a comfortable, relaxed position, and how the space here can be adjusted. Because the soft palate is soft. That's the thing about it. If you go, then the air will make your soft palate go higher.
Yes, yes.
And then the cover, I don't analyze it too much. I think if it's connected to a healthy way of singing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
should be more
when I work,
nature, no? It should be more nature. It shouldn't be like, oh, like this, no? Shouldn't be like that.
correct. In other words, another important thing, when you
Yes.
cover something, you don't change the vowel.
Vowel.
The vowel stays. You're singing
Yes.
ah. I'm singing ah. I
Ah.
don't stop to sing ah when I go up. But the coperto is because you're singing with a higher palate position and you don't raise the palate. The air is raising the palate for you. That's what I believe in. And it will sound like a more dark vowel, like oh, but you don't try to force
To
yourself
make
to
it
sing
oh.
because then
Oh.
you're beginning to close the throat again. You want the throat to stay open.
Yes, yes.
The vowel color will change naturally. And sometimes with basses, especially, they listen to recordings and they're like, oh, and it's very constricted sound. They start to close the throat. If your throat is still open,
Yes.
and you're just singing amor, but because you have a long pharynx, it will
Also,
change the
the
vowel.
sound should be like a amor. Shouldn't be like a amour. No?
Yes,
You are saying also the cover should be connected with the expression also. I'm saying.
the color should be connected to the expression. The nice thing about Italian, why is Italian the best language for singers? Because it has the normal 5 open vowels. I don't care about the closed vowels. You know what, but you know it's a, o, I, o.
We have a question.
Yes.
In Turkish, sorry, I'm going to translate. For the young singers, if they would like to have a career for worldwide career, what they can do, how do they start, what they can do for stepping for worldwide career, what do you recommend for them to do it? If they want to have
sing well, learn how to sing well.
First, sing well, and what else? To learn language, maybe?
Yes, I think to sing well is, if I make a list between number 1 and number 10, number 1 is sing well, number 2 is sing well, number 3 is sing well, number 4 is sing well. Then will come the other things. But work on the voice, work on the technique, understand those. That is the most important thing. Then, of course, you need the languages.
In America, I am sorry to interrupt you. In America, they ask always, how do you sing or how do you perform in Carnegie Hall? They always ask it.
Practice.
Which is correct, no? What do you think?
It is correct. I'll tell you. Practice, you have to know how to practice. It's very important. You don't have to spend many hours practicing, but you have to understand how to do it in the most effective way. And of course, the more you do it, the better you learn.
Yes.
You have, one of the questions that you sent me by email was the daily routine of a conductor and how I prepare and what's...
Yes, please.
But it's the same thing now I'm realizing for everything, because I play piano, I conduct, I work with singers. You have to realize how the body functions. You have to realize how you breathe, how you stand, what is happening here, how you release certain things. It works for the conductor, for a pianist, for a singer. You have to understand your body. As musicians, we don't need big muscles. We need coordination of muscles.
Yes.
That's the
Maestro,
important.
we have last questions.
Please.
hello everyone. What do you think about the repertory choose for competitions? Arias have to be famous, like
Absolutely.
a well-known aria.
I'll tell you, when you go to a competition, it depends the level of the competition and how much time you have to rehearse. If you go for something like operalia, where you get long time nowadays to rehearse with a pianist, and so it doesn't matter. The risk with unknown arias is you present it and the pianist is like, wait, what's this? I can't play it. And then you go on stage and it's a disaster because you have a pianist who cannot accompany you because the aria is, yes. Always, if you go to an audition for a competition, always send your arias in advance. Try to find out the name of the pianist. Try to reach out to them and arrange a rehearsal. It will make life so much better for you. But the danger about unknown arias, I don't know, if you decide to do an aria from Die Schweigsame Frau of Strauss, wonderful opera, there are maybe 20 pianists in the world who know it, and everyone else don't know it. Right. If you bring your own pianist who rehearse with you, it's great. That's the danger about unknown arias. As a jury member, I'm happy when people bring unknown arias. I'm happy if I can, oh, this one I never heard before. I'm really curious. I'm happy to hear unknown arias, but the danger is with the pianist. Another thing with competitions, very, very long arias. That is dangerous. For instance, if you have a soprano and you bring the medicine of Lucia, the medicine of Ophélie from Hamlet, of Thomas, you bring Qui la voce plus cabaletta and stuff like that, then it's not so helpful. You need to have, if possible, if it's appropriate for you, some arias that are not too long. Because actually, I remember in this operalia that we were together, Burak, in 2003, and I was playing.
Maestro.
And there was a girl, fantastic singer, and she brought Lucia Medicine, the whole thing, from Ardon Vincenzi until Cabaletta, due volte with 2 times E flat, so 20 minutes.
Yes.
But you know, in operalia, they have.
Jury was saying, we are hungry, we want to go to eat.
And they have to ask for a second aria, and then they ask for the Höllerache, the Queen of the Night.
Queen of the Night, you know, I remember.
And the poor girl, she just sang 20 minutes with 2 high E flats. She was dead. So came the Höllerache, and it was not very good because she was dead. She just sang 20 minutes. So be smart.
Maestro, thank you so much. I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, in the future, if you don't mind to join us again. I'm asking you on live right now. If you don't mind, you have a wonderful experience. And when I ask you, you accepted right away. You are so kind.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are so kind and you are so wonderful. You are so wise to giving your ideas. You are so, I don't know, it's like an ocean.
I appreciate it.
And you are like an ocean, and we love to hear from you another
with
time.
Pleasure.
And
with pleasure.
And if you don't mind, in the future, we would love to have you here again.
Okay. Anytime.
And please take care of yourself. Be healthy.
Thank you, Burak.
Be safe.
Let's all be healthy.
And we love you so much. And we're gonna bring you in Turkey. I promise you. For Istanbul. I promise you. I'm gonna bring you in Turkey for have you in here with maybe coach with them, or maybe to have a concert, because you are so positive and a wonderful musician. Thank you so much.
Pleasure,
Maestro.
and good luck to everyone. Please stay healthy and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maestro.
Okay.
Take care,
Until
Maestro.
next time.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, Maestro.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.